Marvel Rivals is finally here, and I was fortunate enough to get my hands on a key to play the closed alpha. For anyone who hasn't heard of the game yet, this is a 6v6 shooter very similar to Overwatch. The difference being it's with Marvel characters. When it was first announced last month, I was pretty skeptical, especially because of how many times I've seen these gimmicky IP-focused games come out like Multiverses, and we all know how that turned out. But fortunately, I was able to have a friend get me a code to play Marvel Rivals early, and I am actually quite impressed. When I first booted up the game, I noticed the title screen music sounded a lot like Dragon Ball Z video game music, and to be honest, I expected something with a lot more orchestral music like the MCU soundtrack, but I actually prefer the rock influence here. So when you first get in the game, you're greeted by a nice character selection screen, probably more akin to a fighting game instead of an FPS, but stylistically, that works pretty great with this game. Just like Overwatch, there are three basic classes of characters, being tank, DPS, and support. Of course, that's not what they call it, but I'm sure that's what everyone else playing the game will. Now, I haven't actually gotten into a ranked game yet, but in quick play at least, there is no role queuing. So basically, if you wanted to, you can have a full team of DPS. It's not like Overwatch with one tank, 2 DPS, and 2 supports. I think Rivals staying away from role queuing is probably the best for both players and the developers because it lets the alpha players create sort of a meta team comp that the devs can learn to balance around. Speaking of which, let's talk about the actual gameplay. Each character has their own moveset with unique abilities. You'll actually notice a lot of similarities with Overwatch characters here, but not in a copycat kind of way. It's more like taking 2 or 3 Overwatch characters and combining their abilities into one character. For example, Luna Snow is kind of like a fusion of Kiriko and Zenyatta. Her left click does both healing and damage, has an ability similar to Healing Orb, and her ult is like Transcendence if it had healing and damage boosting. Another example is Scarlet Witch, who you could imagine Moira playing like if she could fly, and instead of healing, she did an incredible amount of damage. In the tank role, Hulk has an ability that acts like D.Va when she is demech'd. Despite some similarities, I would say the majority of abilities are unique to this game in some way. Overall, I think that the devs put a good amount of creativity into all of the characters' movesets, and I think they definitely did more than just copying Overwatch. Now, as for how these characters play in game, well, they are definitely broken. This is an alpha, so I would expect that, but it's so funny seeing how broken an ult like Luna Snow's is, because it's basically Zenyatta's Transcendence if it was double the length and had the option for you to damage boost the entire team around you. There's actually a tournament being held during this alpha, so I'm very interested to see how the meta develops around these incredibly overpowered characters and the lack of role queue. Aside from the gameplay alone though, we have to talk about the optimization issues. Throughout my whole playthrough so far, I have struggled to get above 60 FPS on the lowest settings possible. For reference, my computer has a 12th generation Intel i9 CPU and an RTX 2060 GPU, so theoretically I shouldn't be having any of these issues. I can run games like Fortnite and Overwatch at 144 FPS on pretty decent settings, so it was really annoying to see this game run so poorly. I mean, even recording footage for this game was incredibly difficult because my computer felt like it was exploding running OBS, Google Chrome, and this game all at once, which usually isn't a problem. Besides all that though, I am a huge fan of this game so far. I think the character designs are really nicely made, and I'm glad to see a lot of niche Marvel characters like Galacta make an appearance. There are a lot of notable characters missing from this alpha though, like Captain America, Thanos, Doctor Doom, etc. But I think that these are all going to eventually be added when the game actually releases. For now, I would say that this game has a good sample size of characters to balance everything around before adding more. I guess I should also briefly mention the microtransactions part of this game. Look, it's a NetEase game, this is what they do. But honestly, I was never someone who cared about a free game having skins or a battle pass because, well, it's free. So as long as it stays free to play when it releases, I have absolutely no issues with skins or anything like that being available to purchase. But besides that, maybe this game can find similar success to Valorant as an esport. I just think that it would need to be really pushed by major streamers and funded properly. I mean, Valorant is backed by Riot, so it was kind of impossible for it to fail. Marvel Rivals is backed by Marvel Games itself, so it's definitely going to be heavily promoted. We just have to see if it'll be just a trendy game that lasts a couple weeks or not. Anyway, I just wanted to make a quick video talking about this game so people are aware of how it's going so far. I am really excited to keep playing through this alpha, and hopefully the open beta comes soon enough so more people can join. If you have any questions about this game, let me know in the comments and I can try to help you out. Now, I'm going to try to figure out how to stream this game without exploding my PC. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you in the next one.